Good morning, how y'all doing? This morning I'm going to be reading from the book of Exodus, and hope y'all are doing good. So the book of Exodus, chapter 34, verse 1. And the Lord said unto Moses, Hey, hew thee 2 tables of stone like unto the first, and I will write upon these tables the words that were in the first tables, which thou breakest. And be ready in the morning, and come up in the morning unto Mount Sinai, and present thyself there to me in the top of the mount. And no man shall come up with thee, neither let any man be seen throughout all the mount there, neither let the flocks nor herds feed before that mount. And he hewed 2 tables of stone like unto the first. And Moses rose up early in the morning, and went up into the Mount Sinai, as the Lord hath commanded him, and took in his hand the 2 tables of stone. And the Lord descended in the cloud, and stood with them there, and proclaimed the name of the Lord. And the Lord passed by before him, and proclaimed, the Lord God, mercy and gracious, long-serving, and abundant in goodness and truth, keeping mercy for thousands, forgiving iniquity and transgressions and sin, and that will by no means clear the guilty. Visiting the iniquity of the fathers upon the children, and upon the children's children, and unto the 3rd and unto the 4th generation. Moses made it haste, and bowed his head toward the earth, and worshipped. And he said, If now I have found grace in thy sight, O Lord, let my Lord, I pray thee, go among us, for it is a stiff-necked people, and pardon our iniquity and our sin, and take us for thine inheritance. And he said, Behold, I make a covenant before all thy people, and I will do marvels such as have not been done in all the earth, nor in any nation, and all the people among which thou art shall see the work of the Lord, for it is a terrible thing that I will do with thee. Observe thou that which I command thee this day. Behold, I drive out before the Amorite, and the Canaanite, and the Hittite, and the Perizzite, and the Hivite, and the Jebusite. Take heed to thyself, lest thou make a covenant with the inhabitants of the land. Whether thou goest, lest it be for a snare in the midst of thee. But ye shall destroy their altars, break their image, and cut down their groves. For thou shalt worship no other God, for the Lord, whose name is a jealous God. Lest thou make a covenant with the inhabitants of the land, and they go a whoring after their gods, and do the sacrifice unto their gods, and one call thee, and thou art of the sacrifice. And thou take of their daughters unto thy sons, and their daughters go a whoring after their gods, and make thy sons go a whoring after their gods. Thou shalt make thee no molten gods. The feast of unleavened bread shalt thou keep. 7 days thou shalt eat unleavened bread, as I commanded thee. And in time of the month I bid, for in the month I bid thou camest out from Egypt. All that open the matrix is mine, and every firstling among thy cattle, whether ox or sheep, that is male. But the firstling of an ass thou shalt redeem with a lamb, and if thou redeem him not, then shalt thou break his neck. And all the firstborn of thy sons thou shalt redeem, and none shall appear before me empty. 6 days thou shalt work, but on the 7th day thou shalt rest, and earing time, and in the harvest thou shalt rest. And thou shalt observe the feast of weeks, of the firstfruits of wheat harvest, and the feast of the gathering of the year's end. Thrice in the year shall all your men children appear before the Lord God, the God of Israel. For I will cast out the nations before thee, and enlarge thy borders, neither shall any man desire thy land. When thou shalt go up to appear before the Lord thy God thrice in the year, and thou shalt not offer the blood of my sacrifice with leaven, neither shall the sacrifice of the feast of the Passover be left unto the morning. The first of the first fruits of thy land thou shalt bring unto the house of the Lord thy God, and thou shalt not seethe a kid in his mother's milk. And the Lord said unto Moses, Write thou these words, for after the tenor of these words I have made a covenant with thee and with Israel. And he was there with the Lord 40 days and 40 nights. He did neither eat bread nor drink water, and he wrote upon the tables the words of the covenant, the 10 commandments. And it came to pass, when Moses came down from Mount Sinai with the 2 tables of testimony in Moses' hand, when he came down from the mountain, Moses was not the skin of his face shone while he talked with him. And when Aaron and all the children of Israel saw Moses, behold, the skin of his face shone, and they were afraid to come nigh him. And Moses called unto them, and Aaron and all the rulers of the congregation returned unto him, and Moses talked with them. And afterward all the children in Israel came nigh, and he gave them his commandment that the Lord had spoken with him Mount Sinai. Till Moses had done speaking with him, he put a veil on his face. But when Moses went in before the Lord to speak with him, he took the veil off until he came out. And he came out and spake unto the children of Israel that which he was commanded. And the children of Israel saw the face of Moses, that the skin of Moses' face shone. And Moses put the veil upon his face again until he went in to speak with him. Chapter 35, verse 1. And Moses gathered all the congregation of the children of Israel together, and said unto them, These are the words which the Lord hath commanded, that ye should do them. 6 days shall work be done, but the 7th day they shall be to you an holy day, and Sabbath the rest of the Lord. Whosoever doeth the work therein shall be put to death. Ye shall kindle no fire throughout your habitations upon the Sabbath day. And Moses spake unto all the congregation of the children of Israel, saying, This is the thing which the Lord commanded, saying, Take ye from among you an offering unto the Lord. Whosoever is of a willing heart, let him bring it, an offering of the Lord, gold and silver and brass, and blue and purple and scarlet, and fine linen, and goat's hair, and ram skin dyed red, and badger skins, and shittim wood, and oil from the light, and pieces for the anointed oil, and for the sweet incense, and ox stones, and stones to be set for the ephod, and for the breastplate. And every wise-hearted among you shall come and make all that the Lord hath commanded. The tabernacle, his tent, and his covering, his tacks, and his boards, and his bars, his pillars, and his sockets, the ark, and the staves thereof, and with the mercy seat, the veil of the covering, the table, and its staves, and all his vessels, and his shewbread, the candlestick also for the light, and his furniture, and his lamps with the oil of the light, and the incense altar, and his staffs, and the anointed oil, and the sweet incense, and the hanging for the door of the entering in the tabernacle, the altar of burnt offerings with his brassen grate, his staves, and all his vessels, the laver, and his foot, the hangings of the court, his pillars, and their sockets, and the hanging for the door of the court. The pins of the tabernacle, and the pins of the court, and their cords, the cloths of service to do service in the holy place, the holy garments for Aaron the priest, and the garments of his sons to minister in the priest's office. And all the congregation of the children of Israel departed from the presence of Moses, and they came, every one of those heart stirred him up, and every one whom his spirit made willing. And they brought the Lord's offering to the work of tabernacle of the congregation, and for all his service, and for all the holy garments. And they came, both men and women, as many as were willing hearted, and brought bracelets, and earrings, and rings, and tablets, all jewels and gold. And every man that offered an offering of gold unto the Lord, and every man with whom was found blue and purple and scarlet and fine linen, and goat's hair, and red skin of rams, and badgers' skins, brought them. Every one that did offer an offering of silver and brass brought the Lord's offering. And every man with whom was found shittim wood for any work of the service brought it. And all the women that were wise-hearted did spin with their hands, and brought that which they had spun, both of blue and of purple, and of scarlet, and of fine linen. And all the women whose heart stirred them up in wisdom spun goat's hair. And the rulers brought onyx stones, and stones to be set for the ephod, and for the breastplate, and spice and oil from the light, and for the anointed oil, and for the sweet incense. The children of Israel brought a willing offering unto the Lord, every man and woman whose heart made them willing to bring for all manner of work which the Lord hath commanded to be made by the hand of Moses. And Moses said unto the children of Israel, See, the Lord hath called by name Bezalel the son of Uri, the son of Hur, the tribe of Judah, and he hath filled him with the Spirit of God, and wisdom, and understanding, and in knowledge, and in all manner of workmanship, and to advise curious works, to work in gold and silver, and in brass, and in cutting of stones, to set them, in carving of wood, to make any manner of cunning work. And he hath put in his heart that he may teach both he and Holav, the son of Hismach, of the tribe of Dan. Them hath he filled with wisdom of heart to work all manner of work, of the engraver, and of the cunning workman, and of the embroiderer, in blue, and in purple, and scarlet, and in fine linen, of the weaver, even of them that do any work, and of those that devise cunning work. Chapter 36, verse 1. Then wrought Bezalel and Aholiab, and every wise-hearted man, in whom the Lord put wisdom and understanding, to know how to work all manner of work for the service of the sanctuary, according to all that the Lord hath commanded. And Moses called Bezalel and Aholiab, and every wise-hearted man, in whose heart the Lord hath put wisdom, and even every one whose heart stirred him up to come unto the work to do it. And they received of Moses all the offerings with the children of Israel, and brought for the work of the service of the sanctuary to make it withal. And they brought yet unto him free offerings every morning, and all the wise men that wrought all the work of the sanctuary came every man from his work which they made. And they spake unto Moses, saying, the people bring much more than enough for the service of the work which the Lord commanded to make. And Moses gave commandment, and they caused it to be proclaimed throughout the camp, saying, let neither man nor woman make any more work for the offering of the sanctuary. So the people were restrained from bringing, for the stuff they had was sufficient for all the work to make it, and too much. And every wise-hearted man among them that wrought the work of the tabernacle made 10 curtains of fine twined linen, and blue, and purple, and scarlet, and with cherubims of cunning work made of them. The length of one curtain was 28 cubits, and the breadth of one curtain 4 cubits. The curtains were all in one size, and he coupled the 5 curtains, and one unto another, and the other 5 curtains he coupled one unto another. And he made loops of blue on the edge of one curtain from the selvage and the coupling. Likewise he made in the uppermost side of another curtain, and the coupling of the second. 50 loops made he in one curtain, and the 50 loops made he in the edge of the curtain which was in the coupling of the second. Loops held one curtain to another. And he made 50 taches of gold, and coupled the curtains one unto another with the taches. So it became one tabernacle. And he made curtains of goat's hair for the tent over the tabernacle. 11 curtains he made them. The length of one curtain was 30 cubits, and 4 cubits was the breadth of one curtain. The 11 curtains were one of size. And he coupled 5 curtains by themselves, and 6 curtains by themselves. And he made 50 loops upon the uttermost edge of this curtain, and the coupling of 50 loops made upon the edge of the curtain which coupled the second. And he made 50 taches of brass to couple the tent together, that it might be one. And he made covering for the tent of rams' skins dyed red, and covering the badgers' skins above that. And he made boards for the tabernacle of shittim wood, standing up. The length of the board was 10 cubits, and the breadth of the board 1 cubit and a half. One board had 2 tendons, equally distant one from another. Thus did he make for all the boards of the tabernacle. And he made boards for the tabernacle, 20 boards for the south side, southward, and 40 sockets of silver he made under the 20 boards. 2 sockets under one board for his 2 tendons, and 2 sockets under another board for his 2 tendons. And for the other side of the tabernacle, which is toward the north corner, he made 20 boards, and there 40 sockets of silver, 2 sockets under one board, and 2 sockets under another board. And for the sides of the tabernacle westward, he made 6 boards, and 2 boards made he for the corners of the tabernacle and the 2 sides. And they were coupled beneath, and coupled together at the head of thereof to one ring. Thus he did to both of them, and both the corners. And there were 8 boards, and their sockets were 16 sockets of silver, under every board 2 sockets. And he made bars of shittim wood, 5 on the boards of one side of the tabernacle, and 5 bars for the boards of the other side of the tabernacle, and 5 bars for the boards of the tabernacle for the sides westward. And he made the middle bar to shoot through the boards from the one end to the other, and the offlaid the boards with gold, and made the rings of gold to be places for the bars, and overlaid the bars with gold. And he made a veil of blue and purple and scarlet and fine twined linen, with cherubims made he it of cunning work. And he made thereunto 4 pillars of shittim wood, and overlaid them with gold, and their hooks were of gold. And he cast for them 4 sockets of silver. He made a hanging for the tabernacle door of blue and purple, scarlet, and fine twined linen of needlework, and the 5 pillars of it with their hooks. And he overlaid their chapters and their fillets with gold, but their 5 sockets were of brass. Chapter 37, verse 1. And Bezalel made the ark of shittim wood. 2 cubits and a half was the length of it, and a cubit and a half the breadth of it, and a cubit and a half the height of it. And he overlaid it with pure gold within and without, and made a crown of gold to it around about. And he cast 4 rings of gold to be set by the 4 corners of it, even 2 rings upon the one side of it, and 2 rings upon the other side of it. He made staves of shittim wood, and overlaid them with gold. And he put the staves into the rings by the sides of the ark to bear the ark. He made the mercy seat of pure gold. 2 cubits and a half was the length thereof, and 1 cubit and a half the breadth thereof. And he made 2 cherubims of gold, beaten out of one piece made he them on the 2 ends of the mercy seat, 1 cherub on the end on his side, and the other cherub on the other end on that side of the mercy seat made the cherubims on the 2 ends thereof. And the cherubims spread out their wings on high, and covered with their wings over the mercy seat, with their faces one to another, even to the mercy seat setward were the faces of the cherubims. And he made the table of shittim wood. 2 cubits was the length thereof, and a cubit the breadth thereof, and a cubit and a half the height thereof. And he overlaid it with pure gold, and he made it thereunto a crown of gold round about. And also he made thereunto a border of an handbreadth round about, and made a crown of gold for the border thereof around about. And he cast for it 4 rings of gold, and he put the rings upon the 4 corners, and they were in the 4 feet thereof. Over against the border were the rings of the places of the staffs to bear the table. And he made the staves of shittim wood, and overlaid them with gold, and to bear the table. And he made the vessels which were upon the table, his dishes and his spoons and his bowls and his covers covered with all the pure gold. And he made the candlestick of pure gold, of beaten wood, of work. Made he the candlestick. His shaft and his branch, his boughs, his knobs, and his flowers were the same, and his 6 branches going out of the sides thereof, 3 branches of the candlestick out of the one side thereof, and 3 branches of the candlestick out of the other side thereof. 3 bowls made after the fashion of almonds in one branch, a knob and a flower, and 3 bowls made like almonds in another branch, a knob and a flower. So throughout the 6 branches going out of the candlestick. And the candlestick were 4 bowls made like almonds, and knobs and its flowers, and a knob under 2 branches of the same, and the knob under 2 branches of the same, and the knob under 2 branches of the same, according to the 6 branches going out of it. Their knobs and their branches were the same oil, some were the same. All of it was one beaten work of pure gold. And he made his 7 lamps, and his snuffers, and his snuff dishes of pure gold. Of a talent of pure gold made he it, and all the vessels thereof. And he made the incense altar of shittim wood. The length of it was a cubit, and the breadth of it cubit. It was 4 square, and 2 cubits was the height of it. The horns thereof were the same. And he overlaid it with pure gold, both the top of it and the side thereof round about, and the horns of it. Also he made unto a crown of gold around about, and he made 2 rings of gold for it under the crown thereof by the 2 corners of it, upon the 2 sides thereof, to be places of the staffs to bear it withal. And he made the staves of shittim wood and overlaid them with the gold. And he made the holy anointed oil and the pure incense of sweet spices according to the work of the apothecary. Chapter 38, verse 1. And he made the altar of a burnt offering of shittim wood. 5 cubits was the length thereof, and 5 cubits the breadth thereof. It was foursquare, and 3 cubits the height thereof. And he made the horns thereof on the 4 corners of it. The horns thereof were the same, and he overlaid it with brass. And he made all the vessels of the altar, the pots and the shovels, and the basins and the flesh hooks, and the fire pans. All the vessels thereof made he of brass. And he made for the altar a brassen grate of network under the compass thereof, beneath under the midst of it. And he cast 4 rings for the 4 ends of the grate of brass to be places for the staves. And he made the staves of shittim wood and overlaid them with brass. And he put the staves into the rings of the sides of the altar to bear it withal. He made the altar allow with boards. And he made the laver of brass and the foot of it of brass, of the looking glasses of a woman assembling, which assembled at the door of the tabernacle of the congregation. And he made the court on the south side, southward. The hangings of the court were of fine twined linen, and 100 cubits. Their pillars were 20, and their brassen sockets 20. The hooks of the pillars and their fillets were of silver. And for the north side, the hangings were 100 cubits. Their pillars were 20, and their sockets of brass 20. The hooks of the pillars and their fillets of silver. And for the west side were hangings of the 50 cubits, their pillars 10, and their sockets 10, and the hooks of the pillars and their fillets of silver. And for the east side, eastward 50 cubits. And the hanging of the one side of the gate were 15 cubits, their pillars 3, and their sockets 3. And for the other side of the court gate, on his hand and that hand were hanging of 50 cubits, their pillars 3, and their sockets 3. All the hangings of the court round about were of fine twined linen, and the sockets for the pillars were of brass, and the hooks of their pillars, and their fillets of silver, and overlaying of their chapters of silver. And all pillars of the court were fulfilled with silver. And the hanging for the gate of the court was needlework of blue and purple and scarlet and fine twined linen, and 20 cubits was the length of the height, and the breadth was 5 cubits, answerable to the hangings of the court. And the pillars were 4, and their sockets of brass 4, the hooks of silver, and overlaying of their chapters, and their fillets of silver. And all the pins of the tabernacle and the courts round about were of brass. This is the sum of the tabernacle, even of the tabernacle of testimony, as it was counted, according to the commandment of Moses, for the service of the Levites, by the hand of Ithamar, son to Aaron the priest, and Bezalel, the son of Uriah, the son of Hur, the tribe of Judah, made all that the Lord commanded Moses. And with him was Helab, son of Heshmach, of the tribe of Dan, an engraver and a cunning workman, an embroiderer in blue and in purple and in scarlet and fine linen. All the gold that was occupied for the work, and all the work of the holy place, even the gold of the offering, was 29 talents, and 730 shekels offered the shekel of the sanctuary. And the silver of them that were numbered of the congregation was in 100 talents, and 1,715 shekels after the shekel of the sanctuary. And Becca for every man, that is half the shekel after the shekel of the sanctuary, for everyone that went to be numbered from 20 years old and upward, for 600,000 and 3,550 men. And of the 100 talents of silver were cast the sockets of the sanctuary, and the sockets of the veil, and 100 sockets of the 100 talents, a talent for a socket. And of the 1,775 shekels he made hooks for the pillars, and over there laid their chapters and filled them. And the brass of the offerings was 70 talents, and 2,400 shekels. And therewith he made the sockets to the door of the tabernacle of the congregation, and the brassen altar, and the brassen grate for it, and all the vessels of the altar, and the sockets of the court round about, the sockets of the court gate, and all the pins of the tabernacle, and all the pins of the court round about. Chapter 39, verse 1. And of the blue, the purple, and the scarlet they made clothes of service to do service in the holy place, and made the holy garments for Aaron as the Lord commanded Moses. He made the ephod of the gold, blue, and purple, and scarlet, and fine twined linen. And they did beat the gold into the thine plates, cut it into thine wires, to work it in the blue, and into the purple, and in the scarlet, and in the fine linen, with cunning work. They made shoulder pieces for it, to couple it together. By 2 edges was it coupled together. And the curious girdle of his ephod that was upon it was of the same according to the work thereof, of gold, blue, and purple, and scarlet, and fine twined linen, as the Lord commanded Moses. And they wrought onyx, stones, and clothes, and arches of gold graven as segments of graven with the names of the children of Israel. And he put them on the shoulders of the ephod, that they should be stones for a memorial to the children of Israel, as the Lord commanded Moses. And he made the breastplate of the cunning work, like the work of the ephod, of the gold, blue, and purple, and scarlet, and fine twined linen. It was 4 square. They made the breastplate double. A span was the length thereof, and a span that breadth thereof, being doubled. And they set it in 4 rows of stones. The first row was a sardis of topaz, and a carbuncle, that was the first row. And the second row an armament, a sapphire, and a diamond. And the third row a linger, an agate, and an amethyst. And the fourth row a beryl, an oxen, and a jasper. They were enclosed in arches of gold, and enclosings, and the stones were according to the names of the children of Israel, 12 according to their names, like the engravings of the signet, every one with his name, according to the 12 tribes. And they made upon the breastplate chains of the ends of reddited work of pure gold. And they made 2 arches of gold, and 2 gold rings, and put the 2 rings in the 2 ends of the breastplate. And they put the 2 reddited chains of gold and the 2 rings on the ends of the breastplate. And the 2 ends of the 2 reddited chains they fastened in the 2 arches, and put them in the shoulder pieces of the ephod before it. And they made 2 rings of gold, and put them on the 2 ends of the breastplate upon the border of it, which was on the side of the ephod inward. And they made 2 other golden rings, and put them on the 2 sides of the ephod, underneath it toward the fore part of it, over against the other coupling thereof, above the curious girdle of the ephod. And they did bind the breastplate by his rings unto the rings of the ephod with the lace of blue, that it might be above the curious girdle of the ephod, and that the breastplate might not be loosened from the ephod, as the Lord commanded Moses. And he made the robe of the ephod and woven work of all blue, and there was an hole in the midst of the robe, as the hole of an embergon, with a band round about the hole, that it should not rend. And they made upon the hems of the robe pomegranates of blue and purple and scarlet and twined linen. And they made bells of pure gold, and pure the bells between the pomegranates upon the hem of the robe, round about between the pomegranates, a bell and a pomegranate, a bell and a pomegranate around about the hem of the robe, to minister in, as the Lord commanded Moses. And they made coats of fine linen, of woven work for Aaron and for his sons, and a mirror of fine linen. And goodly bonnets of fine linen, and linen breeches of fine twined linen, and a girdle of fine twined linen, and a blue and a purple and a scarlet of needlework, as the Lord commanded Moses. And they made a plate of the holy crown of pure gold, and they wrote upon it writing like to the graving of a signet, holiness to the Lord. And they twined unto the place of the blue, to fasten it on high upon the miltree, as the Lord commanded Moses. Thus was all the work of the tabernacle of the tent of the congregation finished, and the children of Israel did according to all that the Lord commanded Moses, so did they. And they brought the tabernacle unto Moses, the tent, and all this furniture, his attaches, his boards, his bars, and his pillars, and the sockets. And the covering of ram skins dyed red, and the covering of the badger skins, and the veiling of the covering, and the ark of the testimony, and the staves thereof, and the mercy seat, the table, and all the vessels thereof, and the shewbread, the pure candlestick with the lamps thereof, even with the lamps to be set in order, and all the vessels thereof, and the oil for light, and the golden altar, and the anointing oil, and the sweet incense, and the hanging for the tabernacle door, the brassen altar, and his great brass, his staves, and all his vessels, and the laver, and his foot, the hangings of the court, his pillars, and his sockets, and the hanging for the court gate, his cords, and his pins, and all the vessels of the service of the tabernacle, for the tent of the congregation, the clothes of the service to do service in the holy place, and the holy garments of Aaron, the priest, and his sons of garments to minister in the priest's office. According to all that the Lord commanded Moses, so the children of Israel made all the work. And Moses did look upon all the work, and behold, they had done it as the Lord had commanded. Even so had they done it, and Moses blessed them. Chapter 40, verse 1. And the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, On the first day of the first month shalt thou set up the tabernacle of the tent of the congregation. And thou shalt put therein the ark of the testimony, and cover the ark within the veil. Thou shalt bring in the table, and set in order the things that are to be set in order upon it. And thou shalt bring in the candlestick and the light lamps thereof. Thou shalt set the altar of gold for the incense before the ark of the testimony, and put the hanging of the door to the tabernacle. And thou shalt set the altar of the burnt offering before the door of the tabernacle of the tent in the congregation. And thou shalt set the laver between the tent of the congregation and the altar, and shalt put water therein. And thou shalt set up the court round about, hanging up the hanging of the court gate. And thou shalt take the anointing oil, and anoint the tabernacle, and all that is therein, shalt hallow it, and all the vessels thereof, and it shall be holy. And thou shalt anoint the altar of the burnt offering, and now all his vessels, the sanctuary of the altar, and it shall be all an altar most holy. And thou shalt anoint the laver of his foot, and sanctify it. And thou shalt bring Aaron and his sons under the door of the tabernacle of the congregation, and wash them with water. And thou shalt put Aaron in the holy garments, and anoint him, and sanctify him, and he may minister unto me in his priest's office. And thou shalt bring his sons, and clothe them with coats. Thou shalt anoint them as thou didst another father with thy, that they may minister unto me in the priest's office, for their anointing shall surely be an everlasting priesthood throughout their generations. Thus did Moses according to all that the Lord commanded him, so did he. And it came to pass in the first month, in the second year, on the first day of the month, that the tabernacle was reared up. And Moses reared up the tabernacle, and fastened his sockets, set up the boards thereof, and put in the bars thereof, and reared up his pillars. And he spread upon the tent over the tabernacle, and put the covenant of the tent above upon it, as the Lord commanded Moses. And he took and put the testimony on the ark, and set the staves of the ark, and put the mercy seat above upon the ark. And he brought the ark into the tabernacle, and set up the veil of the covering that covered the ark and the testimony, as the Lord commanded Moses. And he put the table in the tent of the congregation upon the side of the tabernacle northward, without the veil. And he set the bread of the order upon it before the Lord, and as the Lord commanded Moses. He put the candlestick in the tent of the congregation over against the table on the side of the tabernacle southward. And he lighted the lamps before the Lord, as the Lord commanded Moses. He put the golden altar in the tent of the congregation before the veil, and he burnt sweet incense thereon, as the Lord commanded Moses. And he set up the hanging at the door of the tabernacle, and he put the altar of burnt offering by the door of the tabernacle of the tent of the congregation, and offered upon the burnt offering and the meat offering, as the Lord commanded Moses. And he set the laver between the tent of the congregation and the altar, and put water there to wash withal. And Moses and Aaron and his sons washed their hands and their feet thereat. When they went into the tent of the congregation, when they came near unto the altar, they washed as the Lord commanded Moses. And he reared up the court around about the tabernacle, and the altar round about the tabernacle and the altar, and set up the hanging of the court gate. So Moses finished the work. Then a cloud covered the tent of the congregation, and the glory of the Lord filled the tabernacle. Moses was not able to enter into the tent of the congregation, because the cloud abode thereon, and the glory of the Lord filled the tabernacle. And when the cloud was taken up from over the tabernacle, the children of Israel went onward in all their journeys. But if the cloud were not taken up, then they journeyed not till the day that it was taken up. For the cloud of the Lord was upon the tabernacle by the day, and the fire was on it by the night, and then in the sight of all the house of Israel throughout all their journeys. Wow. That's amazing. It's a beautiful tabernacle. That's for sure. So I read chapter 34, chapter 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, chapter 40, and I hope this blessed y'all as it blessed me. And I have to say, if you can't, take the time to read your Bible. King James Version. It's been a blessing. And y'all have a blessed day. Thank y'all.